All right, howdy, and welcome back to the Catholic Tech Table. I'm Andrew Robison, and today we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to do a real comparison of three popular AI tools, including ChatGPT, Claude, and Grok. And I'm recording this in February of 2026, so things are definitely going to change between now and down the road. They could be completely different 3 weeks from now. They will definitely be very different 6 months from now. But I wanted to run through some of these, show you some real examples. And here's my promise. I'm not going to tell you which one's best because honestly, they all have different strengths. So for those of us working in Catholic ministry and in fundraising, knowing which tool best fits which task can save you a lot of frustration in the end. So today we're going to be testing these three tools against tasks that you actually do, right? Writing donor communications, researching giving trends, brainstorming event ideas, drafting case for support. So I'll do a couple of samples and I'll tell you what I've discovered works well and what doesn't. So let's pull up a chair and compare. So let's go ahead and introduce you to the models. I've got my second screen set up with the different models here, and I'll show them all to you as we talk about them. So ChatGPT is by OpenAI. It's definitely the most well-known. It's been around for the longest in terms of the public availability to use it. There are free versions. There's GPT 3.5. Right here, I've got the paid version, GPT 5.2. But here you can drop down and you can see some of the legacy models. 5.2, I believe, will actually decide which model it's going to use based on the questions. I've got it set on thinking, but the instant you'll see it goes very fast. ChatGPT is very good at conversation flow, at creative writing, at general problem solving, and it's available at chat.openai.com. So next we have Claude by Anthropic. So Claude is newer to the scene, is actually formed by people that used to work for OpenAI, left, and they started Claude really with safety and helpfulness in mind. So there are, again, same thing. There's free versions and there's paid versions. Right now, I've got it set up to use Opus 4.6 extended, but you also have Sonnet 4.5 and Haiku, and then as well some more models here. So Claude is really good at longer documents, at generating longer documents, at reviewing longer documents. It does really good detailed analysis. It can follow complex instructions carefully, and I haven't used it a lot, but Claude Code is really changing the everyday people's availability to write code, so we'll see where that goes. And it's available at claude.ai. And then the third option that we're going to talk about is Grok. So Grok is the newest of the three. It's formally integrated with X. In fact, you can see here I've got it pulled up on the browser form, not an app. But whenever I'm on Twitter, you can't read a Twitter thread without somebody asking, Grok, please explain this to me. Grok has real-time access to X posts, which means it has real-time access to current events. It's really good at analyzing current information. It's got a casual tone, sometimes even a saucy tone, and it's really good at internet culture references. Grok is available specifically through your X premium subscription. So I'm testing the free or the basic paid versions. There's premium versions as well, because that's what most of you are going to be using. Capabilities can vary significantly between free and those premium tiers. And then all of these tools are constantly being updated. Again, what we're talking about today, it's going to change in 3 months. So think of this as more of a snapshot, not an ongoing global truth. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a task-by-task comparison. So task 1 is writing a donor thank you letter. Please write a personal thank you letter template to a first-time donor who gave $500 to our Catholic high school's annual fund. So there you go. So it's going to go really quick. Love this. ChatGPT is really good at the affirmations. So again, it's going to produce warm. It's going to produce conversational tone naturally. It's good at capturing appropriate gratitude without being like over the top. So thank you for your generous gift of $500. I want to thank you because this was your first gift to our school, and that means a great deal to us. When someone makes an initial investment, it tells me they believe in what we're doing. Your gift goes directly toward the everyday essentials to make Catholic education possible. List some of those. Because of you, students at our school pray together, learn together, compete together, and grow in confidence. That's real impact. Please know of our prayers for you and your family. Deeply grateful as part of the family with gratitude in my name. Great. It It's good. It captures that gratitude. It's not over the top. Sometimes it's a little bit generic, right? Some of those, what makes Catholic education possible, strong faculty, faith formation, student program. It doesn't know anything about my organization, so it's not going to highlight anything specific unless I teach it to that, but that's helpful. That's good. So again, ChatGPT, good for first drafts that feel natural. So now we're going to do the same thing, and I'll just copy this here, and we'll come over to Claude. Great. So let's see what Claude Opus 4.6 does. Okay, so you'll notice that Claude thinks a little bit. It tells you it's thinking. Chat, you typed it in, you hit enter, and it's already coming out. Claude can spend a little bit of time sort of thinking. It tells you a little bit. If I clicked on this, it would give me a little bit more explanation of what it's doing. But here's what Claude gave us. So thank you so much for your generous gift of $500. As a first-time donor, I want you to know how meaningful your decision to invest in our school truly is. Your gift makes a real and immediate difference in the lives of our students. Insert one specific example. Catholic education is one of the most powerful ways we form young people, not just academically, but in virtue, faith, and character. By supporting our school, you're helping us carry out that mission for the number of families who entrust. I'd love the chance to connect with you personally and share more about the exciting things happening. Please don't hesitate to reach any time. I'd welcome a conversation or a visit. And then P.S., if there's a particular area of our school's mission that's close to your heart, I'd love to hear about it. Your partnership means. So a few notes there about best practices. PS is intentional. It's most read. And then obviously you want me to create different variations. So Claude, a little bit more formal and structured by default, but I think it's excellent at following. It gave us specific instructions. If I had said be warm, if I'd said don't be overly effusive, it would have done that really well. It's good at maintaining consistent voice across multiple drafts. So if I said, yep, do a different variation, it would do a really good job. It wouldn't kind of restart. ChatGPT will sometimes do that. You kind of lose the version 1.2 when you go to 1.3. It starts back at 1.0. Claude is really good about editing it. That's Claude. And then let's see what Grok does. It's going to search the web. Great. So here's a warm, very quick. I hope this letter finds you well. On behalf of our school, our faculty, staff, students, I want to extend our heartfelt thanks for your generous gift. Your contribution will directly help us blank, fill in the blank. I did say a template, so I guess that's why it's giving us options to plug in. And it's got a PS too. As required for tax purposes, no goods or services were exchanged, provided. Just a very generic tax receipt kind of thing. Template sincere, donor-centered, concise yet warm, appropriate for Catholic institutions. Grok can sometimes be a little bit too casual or for donor communication, formal donor communication. I don't think that was too casual. It was on the casual side, but sometimes Grok will insert humor that doesn't necessarily fit. Didn't do it there, which is nice. But I would say that of the three, that this was a little bit less appropriate for a professional correspondence. So my take for donor thank you letters, you can start with chat for natural warmth to kind of get the details, but then I think if you're going about something that you want to connect more with your donors, that from a kind of a clear reading, good, nice, friendly tone, Claude is your better bet. I just don't think that Grok is best for this kind of a task. Let's see task number 2. So now we're going to research giving trends. Let's go start with chat again. So now we're going to do a new, and let's go to thinking, right? I'm preparing for a board meeting, and I need current data about charitable giving trends, especially for religious organizations. Let's see what ChatGPT comes back with. And again, I changed models, but it's going to spend a little bit of time thinking. I could skip that right there and go to instant. But so it's researching trends in 2024, 2025 religious giving. So chat used to be only trained up to October 2023, but they've now changed that and they're updating a lot more frequently. But it doesn't have access to real-time data unless I've got it set up to search the internet, which it does. It's going to lakeinstitute.org. So that's good. Let's see what it comes back with. Okay, so it thought for 58 seconds. Let's see what it says. Board ready, board meeting ready, current giving trends with an emphasis. Big picture, charitable giving rebound in 2024. Great. Religion, still the largest recipient, but losing share over time. Okay, it's honest. It's backing all this up with, I could click in this and go to Lake Institute. I could click in this and go to NP Trust, which is great. Chat is getting a lot better at just making stuff up. They call that hallucinating, where if it didn't know an answer, it still wanted to please you. So it just makes stuff up. And I didn't prompt it to, but in the past, I used to have to prompt it with, if I was asking for specific trends, I would say, give me citable references, but didn't do that. Included those links in here. It's given me a little bit of a board takeaway. So how can I summarize that point for the board? Donor advised funds, church level giving, and then gave me some quick talking points. Again, it's still, if I had used the research model, then would go even deeper. So again, it did a good job finding that information, summarizing it, and giving me some good talking points. So now we'll do the same thing with Claude. So let's see what Claude says. I think that chat, that was helpful, right? It was a little bit, found the information, gave me links, summarized it into the talking points for the board, and I think that did a decent job, right? So let's compare with Claude. All right, so here's Claude. Overall U.S. charitable giving is up. Gave me some links to Giving USA, first time in 3 years, so it's giving me a little bit of commentary on it. Religious giving varied. Major tax laws based on the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. So this is very current, 2026 impact, some of these laws. Great. And then key takeaways. Data tells a story your clients need to hear. Religion is still the top charitable category in America, but share continues to erode. And then want me to put it into presentations. You'll remember, so chat kind of gave me the data, gave me the links, and gave me a board takeaway for everything. Gave me some summary or some talking points at the end. Claude took a little bit different approach. As it was giving me the information, it was really framing it with some commentary that I can use as I'm sharing, and then obviously gave me key takeaways. I could say, hey, I think your key takeaway is wrong. And what would it do? It would change it. It would say, yeah, you're right. And it would evaluate from that standpoint. But anyways, good and easy to use. So now we go to Grok. So you notice in Claude, it was about the same amount of time, 58 seconds for chat, probably about a minute for Claude, maybe a little bit quicker, but it was good at analyzing the data and not just simply giving me the bullet points. And it took a lot of complex information and summarized it, so it was really good about the research. And so let's see what Grok is going to come back with, because Grok has access to information through X. So again, you have to take all that with a grain of salt, because there's a lot of people that make stuff up and make wild claims on Twitter that you have to sort out, but it has access to that, which is really great. Okay, so it's looking at some links that I don't know exactly what all Claude and chat looked at, but they stuck to the bigger websites just based on me knowing where the information is coming from. Grok looks like it's going into some blog posts, a little bit more kind of specific information or more detailed, maybe. Great, so it's giving me, it thought for a minute and 11 seconds. I believe you, Grok. All right, so as of early 2026, charitable giving continues to show resilience amid economic uncertainties, with total donations reaching number. However, trends indicate a mixed picture. All right, so it's giving me a little bit of commentary as well. I don't love how it's giving me all this in kind of big paragraphs as opposed to bullets, especially with some of these numbers, but that's okay. So it's talking a little bit bigger, not just the numbers, but what's influencing, what's the reasons behind it. Economic and policy impact. Great, so it is talking about that One Big Beautiful Bill. I've got some links in there, donor behavior and strategies. It gave me a nice chart here. So key statistics, the value, and then the source notes. Great. And then what are recommendations to prepare for 2026? Emphasize strategies like personalized messaging, boosting recurring mobile giving, and leveraging tax incentives. So again, giving me a little bit of direction there. I don't know, my take. So for giving trends, doing the information, doing the research yourself through Google is how you're going to go directly to the source, right? So this is pulling from Giving USA, from AFP, from Chronicle of Philanthropy, from Tidely, and it's summarizing it. So it's possible that it's going to leave some stuff out that it didn't want me to put in here, or it felt like prioritize this statistic over another. If I did all the research myself, I'm going to be able to prioritize that, but it's helpful. It's summary, right? And those are the tasks that we're going to do. Again, just 2 tasks, writing and then research. You can also draft case for supports for capital campaign, right? You can brainstorm parish event ideas. There's a lot of things that you can do. But let's zoom out and talk about what I learned from testing these. So number one, they're tools. They're not solutions, right? None of them can replace your knowledge of your donors, your parish, your mission, right? If I'm talking to a board, I'm going to know the dynamics of the board members, what somebody on the board is constantly asking me about. I could look into that a little bit more specifically and deliver that. I could obviously ask any of these tools to do that, but it's still me guiding and directing, right? The free versions, they have some limitations. I'm using the paid versions of all 3 of these. I didn't hit any throttling or any issues with data usage. Even at the paid version, if you start doing a lot of information, asking a lot of questions, certainly if you're using like Claude Code, for example, it will tell you to stop and come back because you run out of your tokens. That's if you're doing API stuff. If you're doing a lot, then you're going to want to pay for the premium. And again, so I picked 3. There's others. There's Perplexity. There's some other AI tools that you can use that are specific to different tasks. There's no single best AI. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll use chat to help me brainstorm, give me a draft, and then I like to throw that draft into Claude because I think Claude does a better job writing. Mixing and matching is a great way to use these. You still need human judgment, right? Like I'm not just showing up and it's telling me what I should know to present to the board members. I'm asking it, I'm prompting it, I'm fine-tuning. If I knew that John really wanted to know about this, and I'd say, okay, that's great. What about this aspect that I know one of my board members is going to ask me about? Here's some challenges for the week. Challenge number 1, the comparison test. Pick one simple task, doing what I did or writing a social media post for an upcoming event. Try that exact same prompt, just like I did on chat, on Claude, on Grok, and notice the difference. Which one feels more natural for your voice, and that way you have some good comparisons, right? Challenge number 2, the right tool challenge. This week, you probably have at least one writing task, an email, a newsletter blurb, something. So before you use AI, ask yourself, what do I actually need here? Do I want a warm tone? Do I want careful precision? Do I want current information? Then choose your AI tool based on that, right? So see if matching the tool to the tasks actually makes a difference. And then challenge number 3, reality check. Use AI to draft something, then show it to somebody, a colleague, a family member, without telling them it's AI generated, and then ask them, what do you think about this? Does it sound like me? Does it fit our culture? And see what their feedback is. So this will teach you what AI does well and where people are like, oh, that was obviously AI, right? So you need to apply a human touch. So after trying all these, then you'll know which AI surprised you the most, positively or negatively. Let me know. Put it in the comments here for this video. I'd love to see what your take is on these 3 or even some others. So that's it today for today's episode of Catholic Tech Table. Remember, there's no single best AI. There's the right tool for the right task, but it's always going to take your wisdom, your judgment to understand it. ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, they all have strengths. None of them are perfect, and none of them know your mission like you do. So next week, we're going to talk all about how to write great prompts. Until then, test these tools, stay curious, keep your mission first. I'm Andrew Robison with Petrus. Thanks for pulling up a chair and joining me today. And remember, the best AI is the one that helps you serve better.